Hi everybody, in this lesson I continue with how to pass in data from container to component. Now let's start with the flow. We will have container, and this is something like the React component, and inside this I will pull the data to the user interface. Firstly, I create a new directory container, and inside the container directory we have the JavaScript file food list. The food list will contain the food list component. So inside this you have to import the React and the component library from React framework. So class food list will extend from component. It is a React component. This React component will be customized and then become the container. We have the default function is render. We return to a JavaScript extension, or for example a div. Inside this we have the unordered list, and we have a list of item of food. So we have the unordered list, and inside this we have some of the list item. So we also have this function and define this function. This function means that it will convert the state to the prop, state to prop. So the return is a value of prop, and prop is a public property and state is a private property. And like in the previous lesson I talked about the detail. And the state when inside the store, so we have a state.food is food is a property of state. Then I convert it to this. This reducer means that food here is state. So it is inside the state, and state is inside the store. So the food in the left is props. So the container will connect the presentation component to Redux. Okay, so I will use the container as a component, but added the map state to prop. Then I define a food container is equal to, I call the connect function. What is connect function? Connect function is a function that import from the React Redux framework. So this function will convert from the container from the container to the component. Then inside this we have the input is a food list, and the connect function have the input parameter is a function map state to prop. So after that we have the food container object, and I export this food container so any other file can use it in this module. So copy the food container. Inside this we also have the functions that generate or create the list item. So in this I call the create food list item here, and inside the create food list item I will generate and for loop the data in the reducer and generate to this. Okay, let's call to prop.food. What is this? Prop.food is the food property that get from the function map state to prop. So the food here is the food here is the same. It is the same. Remember that this food and this food is the same. So what about the map function? Map function is something like the for loop an array. So it is a map function, and inside the map function we have an arrow function, so that when we get for loop from the list, we have each of the item inside the list. So it is each food each item inside a list. Then I return to I create the list item, and remember that all the list item have the key to distinguish between any item inside the list. So we have ID is here, get from the food.id, and any other information we have food name. So food name is get from the name property of each food. Okay, so we have each item in a list item. You can also add more name, your description, etc. inside this. So after that, I have to return the list item. Return list item. So we have a list of a list item ZSH. So about this, I copy this name, and in the app component, open the app component. So I import this to app component, use it as a component, but it is a container. So I use this as a component. So etc. I give it to here food container and close. Yes, close item. Okay, and this means that after the list we have we show the list, and I start the project. Okay, so we have the a list item here. We have food name, a list item, and this is it is here the list item container or the food container. So we have each item